a peaceful start to what should have been an ordinary day. His apartment offered a view of the rebuilt city skyline, a testament to how humanity had recovered from the climate disasters of the 2220s. His communication device buzzed. Unusual for 6:30 a.m. "Commander Kim speaking," he answered, taking a sip of coffee. "Sir, this is Central Command. We need you here immediately. Code Cobalt." Taehyun nearly dropped his mug. Code Cobalt meant only one thing: confirmed presence of non-Earth technology. After years of preparation and speculation, it had finally happened. "On my way," he said calmly, though his heart raced. The streets were oddly normal as his self-driving car navigated to the underground Earth Defense Force headquarters. People walked to work. Children headed to school. No one knew that today would change human history forever. Deep beneath the city, the command center buzzed with controlled activity. Large screens showed a massive object in Earth orbit, clearly artificial and over 3 kilometers long. General Yuna Park stood at the central console. Her face remained composed, but Taehyun had known her long enough to spot the tension in her shoulders. "It appeared 2 hours ago," she said without preamble. "No warning, no signal. It simply arrived. Have they made contact?" Taehyun asked, studying the vessel's strange design. Smooth curves with no visible weapons, unlike human ships which bristled with defensive systems. "Just now. A transmission in over 40 human languages. Whoever they are, they've been watching us for some time." The main screen switched to show a being that appeared almost deer-like, with large eyes, a slender neck, and smooth skin in pale blue. It wore what seemed to be ceremonial clothing. "People of Earth," the alien spoke in perfect Korean. "I am Ambassador Jury of the Galactic Confederation. We come in peace and friendship. We have watched your world recover from environmental crisis and unify your governments. We believe you are ready to join the community of spacefaring civilizations." The room fell silent. "We already have a response prepared," General Park said. "Years in the making." The United Earth Council approved it unanimously. Taehyun nodded. The existence of intelligent alien life had been considered inevitable by Earth scientists. After the climate accords of 2028 united the planet's governments, preparation for first contact became a priority. Few citizens knew about it, but the work had been thorough. The general's reply was dignified and welcoming, revealing nothing of Earth's military capabilities or true technological advancement. It projected exactly the image they wanted the aliens to see: a young, promising civilization eager to learn. 3 days later, Taehyun found himself aboard the alien ship, part of Earth's first diplomatic delegation. The 7-person team represented Earth's regions, areas of expertise, and military presence. Dr. Hyuk Park, Earth's leading xenobiologist, walked beside him, quietly observing everything. "Notice how wide their corridors are?" Dr. Park whispered. "And the lack of sharp edges anywhere? Their evolutionary psychology is showing in their design choices." The alien ship was beautiful, with flowing architecture that seemed almost grown rather than built. Their hosts, who called themselves the Eldari, moved with graceful, cautious steps. Ambassador Jury led them to a large chamber where representatives from other alien species waited. The Galactic Confederation includes over 300 spacefaring civilizations, Jury explained. Today, 12 representatives have come to welcome Earth. The aliens varied wildly in appearance. Some resembled insects, others were almost plant-like, and a few looked like nothing Taehyun could compare to Earth life. Despite their differences, they all shared one quality: a certain gentleness in movement, a carefulness that seemed ingrained. During the formal reception, Taehyun noticed something odd. When he moved quickly to catch a falling data pad, several aliens visibly flinched. When he laughed suddenly at a comment, others stepped back slightly. Dr. Park noticed too. Later, in their private quarters, the scientist's face looked troubled. "They're afraid of us," he said simply. "Afraid? Why would advanced species fear humans?" Taehyun asked. "I'm not sure yet, but watch how they react to sudden movements, to loud sounds. There's something about human behavior that unsettles them deeply." The next day, Earth's delegation visited the Eldari ship's command center, a privilege rarely granted to new species. They were told the technology was centuries beyond Earth's publicly acknowledged capabilities. Your ship uses antimatter for propulsion? Dr. Jia Song, Earth's physicist, asked with carefully crafted innocence. Yes, the Eldari engineer replied, though we find it surprising your species has already theorized such technology. Most civilizations take several more centuries to reach that understanding. Taehyun exchanged a quick glance with Dr. Song. The truth was, Earth had working antimatter, engines in development for over a decade, hidden in underground facilities on the moon. The aliens didn't need to know that. We're very interested in theoretical physics, Dr. Song said with a humble smile. Later, Ambassador Jury invited them to a private meal. The food, synthesized to be safe for human consumption, tasted better than Taehyun expected. We have studied your history with great interest, Jury said. Your species has overcome much internal conflict to achieve unity. We had strong motivation, replied Sun Ho Lee, Earth's diplomatic lead. The climate crisis threatened all of us equally. Yes, most species unite through external pressure, Jury nodded. Though few have histories as competitive as humanity's, the way Jury said competitive carried an undertone that Taehyun caught immediately. There was fear in that word. After dinner, Jury made the offer they had been waiting for, an invitation for a larger Earth delegation to visit the Confederation's capital world, back on Earth. In the secure chamber 500 meters beneath Geneva, the United Earth Council reviewed the first contact data. They've underestimated us, Defense Minister Do Yoon Choi said, reviewing the delegation's reports. They believe we're at least a century behind where we actually are. Good, President Han replied. Let's maintain that impression. What concerns me is Dr. Park's observation about their fear response. The xenobiologist stood. After analyzing the biological data we gathered, I believe their fear has evolutionary roots. The Eldari and every other species we encountered show signs of evolving from prey animals. Their nervous systems, reaction times, even their social structures suggest species that survived by avoiding predators, not by being predators. The room grew quiet as the implications sank in. And humans? Asked President Han. We are apex predators. Our forward-facing eyes, our speed and stamina, our problem-solving under pressure, all predator traits. Even our social cooperation evolved partly for more effective hunting. Admiral Ji-Hoon leaned forward. You're saying we may be the only predator species in the Galactic Confederation? It's a working theory, Dr. Park replied. But it would explain their instinctive caution around us. They sense something dangerous in our very nature. President Han's expression remained calm, but her voice carried new weight. Then we proceed with extreme caution. We accept their invitation, but we accelerate the deep space defense initiatives. If we are fundamentally different from these species, we must be prepared for the day they recognize just how different we truly are. The meeting continued long into the night, as humanity quietly prepared for its new place among the stars, a place that would soon make Earth the most feared force in the galaxy. The ship gleamed with new technology, some of it shared by the Confederation, some secretly developed on Earth. 6 months had passed since first contact, and humans had learned to navigate the complex political waters of interspecies diplomacy. Beautiful, isn't it? Asked Dr. Yoon-ji Kang, joining her at the window. Beyond the glass stretched Proxima Station, a massive structure orbiting a red dwarf star. Thousands of ships from hundreds of worlds moved in careful patterns around it. Beautiful and busy, Gina replied. Are you ready for tonight? Yoon-ji nodded. As Earth's lead scientist on alien technology, she would attend the diplomatic dinner alongside Gina. As ready as I'll ever be to eat food designed for 20 different digestive systems. Gina smiled. In their 6 months of interaction with the Confederation, humans had discovered that humor was surprisingly universal. What wasn't universal was the way other species reacted to humans. Despite politeness and diplomacy, there was always that undercurrent of caution. The grand hall of Proxima Station outshone anything Earth had built. Crystalline structures captured and reflected light in patterns that seemed alive. Representatives from 30 major Confederation species mingled, their varied forms a testament to the diversity of life in the galaxy. Gina noticed how conversations paused briefly when humans entered the room, not out of rudeness but from something more primal. "Captain Lee," greeted Ambassador Jury, approaching with a being that resembled a tall, thin humanoid with silver-blue skin. "May I introduce Representative Talox of the Merci Collective?" "Honored," Gina said, using the slight bow the Confederation species preferred over handshakes. Most aliens found the human custom of touching hands unsettling. "The honor is mine," said Talox in a melodic voice. "We have observed your species with great interest." The dinner proceeded with careful diplomacy. Earth's team had been well briefed. Move slowly, speak softly, ask questions rather than make statements. 4 hours into the event, after most delegations had moved to separate discussion groups, Gina found herself alone with Talox. The Merci had consumed several glasses of a blue liquid that seemed to have an intoxicating effect. "Your people have adapted remarkably fast," Talox said, his speech slightly slurred. "Most new species take decades to feel comfortable in Confederation spaces." "We're eager to learn," Gina replied carefully. Talox leaned closer, his large eyes blinking rapidly. "Do you know why the Council was so divided about inviting humans into the Confederation?" Gina maintained her diplomatic smile. "I imagine introducing any new species carries risks?" "Not just any species," Talox said, lowering his voice. "Your kind is different, the only ones in known space." "Different how?" Talox glanced around nervously. "The apex evolution pattern, the predator path. Every other sentient race evolved from prey animals or peaceful plant eaters. It gives your brain different patterns." Gina felt her pulse quicken, but kept her expression neutral. "I'm not sure I understand." "Your history," Talox continued, the intoxicant loosening his caution. "Full of conflict, competition, hunting. Looking at old Earth images terrifies most Confederation citizens. Your teeth, your forward-facing eyes, your running speed." He shuddered. Some council members wanted no contact at all. Before Gina could respond, an aide pulled Talox away, shooting her an apologetic look. But the damage was done. She now understood what humans had been sensing all along. "They're scared of us because we're predators," Gina explained in the secure communication room aboard the Harmony. The encrypted quantum link to Earth was supposed to be unknown to Confederation technology. On the screen, Defense Minister Do-yoon Choi nodded gravely. His office deep beneath Geneva was equally secure. Dr. Park's theory was correct then. How widespread is this knowledge? According to Talox, it's kept from the general public. Most Confederation citizens don't know humans are apex predators, by evolution. They fear it would cause panic. "This explains their technology sharing patterns," Do-yoon said. "They're giving us cultural and medical advancements, but minimal propulsion and defensive systems. They're containing us," Gina agreed. "Like zookeepers making sure the lions can't escape their enclosure." Do-yoon's expression hardened. "Continue your diplomatic mission. Give no indication that we know. I'll inform the Council immediately." Back on Earth, Dr. Yoonji Kang worked late in her laboratory. The translator implants gifted by the Confederation were spread across her workbench in various stages of disassembly. "Found you," she whispered, isolating a component smaller than a grain of rice. Two junior scientists looked up from their work. "What is it?" asked Dr. Minho. "A monitoring device," Yoonji replied. "Extremely sophisticated. It doesn't just translate, and it records and transmits." "They're spying on us?" Dr. Soyun asked, her voice tight with anger. "Watching us like lab specimens," Yoonji confirmed. "But now we know." She held up a tiny device of her own design. "And we can feed them exactly what we want them to hear." The United Earth Council's emergency session took place in a room so secure that even the air was filtered for listening devices. 20 world leaders and top military commanders sat around a circular table. "The situation is clear," President Han said after hearing all reports. "The Confederation fears our biology, our evolutionary history. They're studying us while limiting our technological growth." Admiral Ji-hoon An, who had opposed close relations with aliens from the beginning, spoke next. "We should withdraw from this Confederation immediately, accelerate our military development." "And confirm their fears?" countered Ambassador Sun Woo. "We'd be seen as the dangerous predators they already suspect we are." Defense Minister Do Yoon presented a third option. "We maintain the diplomatic relationship. We continue appearing grateful for their limited technology sharing. Meanwhile, we accelerate our secret development programs and prepare our defenses." "Deception," said Admiral An with a frown. "Strategic patience," corrected Do Yoon. "The Confederation has existed for 10,000 years. They think in centuries, not years. We let them believe their containment strategy is working while we prepare for any outcome." President Han looked around the table. "Dr. Kang's counter-surveillance system will be deployed immediately. All Confederation technology will be examined for hidden functions. We will smile at their ambassadors while building our strength." The vote was unanimous. For the first time in human history, all nations worked together with a single purpose: ensuring humanity's independence among the stars. On Proxima Station, far from Earth, a closed council meeting reached a different conclusion. "The humans are adapting too quickly," said the Eldari High Counselor. "Their neural patterns show predatory problem-solving abilities we've never encountered." "The containment strategy is our best option," replied the Mersai delegate. "Limited technology sharing, careful monitoring. We must not allow them access to advanced weaponry or unrestricted travel." A small insect-like being spoke last, its translator converting clicks into words. "And if they discover our intentions? Predators do not react well to being caged." The chamber fell silent. None had an answer. "Perhaps," suggested the Eldari after a long pause, "we should consider a more permanent solution while their numbers are still confined to a single world." The motion was not approved, but neither was it dismissed. The seed had been planted. Some in the Confederation were already considering options that went far beyond containment. And back on Earth, humanity prepared for a future they now understood would not come with the friendship they had hoped for, but with challenges that would require all the predatory instincts evolution had given them. Two years after first contact with the Galactic Confederation, humanity had maintained its careful diplomatic balance while secretly preparing for any threat. Inside Dome 3, engineer Jia Song adjusted the new water recycling system. Based partly on Confederation technology but improved by human innovation, it was twice as efficient as the original design. "How's it looking?" asked Colony Director Ho Jin Yu, approaching with a tablet in hand. "Better than expected," Ji replied. "We'll be at full independence from Earth shipments within 3 months." Ho Jin nodded with satisfaction. Mars represented humanity's first true step into the solar system, home to 3,000 colonists. What the Confederation didn't know was that beneath the public scientific facilities lay a network of military installations. Mars wasn't just a colony, it was a fortress. The alarm began as a low tone, then rose in pitch. "Proximity alert," Ho Jin said, checking his tablet. His face paled. "Multiple unidentified ships just appeared in orbit. They're not Earth vessels." "Confederation?" Jai asked, already moving toward the emergency station. "No scheduled visits. The first explosion cut him off mid-sentence." The dome shuddered. Emergency lights flashed red. "Get everyone to the shelters," Ho Jin ordered, voice steady, despite the chaos. "Now." The attack lasted 11 minutes. When it ended, Dome 3 was gone. Domes 1 and 2 had massive breaches. Of the 3,000 colonists, only 400 reached the underground shelters in time. On Earth, the images played on every screen. The attackers had made no attempt to hide their identity. Their ships bore the emblem of the Purity Vanguard, a radical faction within the Confederation dedicated to protecting galactic harmony from dangerous influences. In the United Earth Council's emergency chamber, silence fell after the final casualty report. President Min-Soo Han stood, her face carved from stone. The Purity Vanguard has claimed responsibility. They call it a preventative action against a predator species. And the Confederation's response? Admiral Ji-hoon An asked, though everyone already knew the answer. Expressions of regret. Claims that the Vanguard acts independently and outside their jurisdiction. President Han's voice remained steady, but her eyes burned. They will take no action against those responsible. Defense Minister Do-yoon Choi cleared his throat. Our intelligence suggests many Confederation members secretly approve of the attack. They see it as a warning to keep us contained to our solar system. They murdered 3,000 civilians. General Yoon-ha Park's fist hit the table. Children, scientists, engineers. They don't see us as people, interrupted Dr. Hyuk Park quietly. In their evolutionary psychology, predators are threats to be feared and controlled, not equals to be respected. President Han looked around the table. Recommendations? Admiral An spoke first. Activate Protocol Thunderbolt. The room fell, silent. Protocol Thunderbolt had been developed in secret over the past 2 years, a contingency plan if relations with the Confederation turned hostile. President Han nodded once. The vote? It was unanimous. Commander Jin Woo-yoon stood on the bridge of the EDS Vengeance, one of 20 identical vessels hidden in an asteroid belt beyond Mars. Built with reverse-engineered Confederation technology but improved by human innovation, these ships were faster and more powerful than anything the aliens believed humans possessed. All ships report ready, Commander, said Lieutenant Sora Kim at Tactical. Targeting data confirmed, added Weapons Officer Daehyun Jang. We have exact coordinates for the Vanguard base. Jinwoo studied the holographic display. The Purity Vanguard operated from a hidden base in a distant star system, protected by automated defenses and a small fleet. They believed themselves untouchable. This is not about revenge, Jinwoo told his crew. His voice carried throughout all 20 ships via quantum communication. This is about justice and deterrence. We strike only military targets, no civilian casualties. Precision and restraint are our weapons just as much as our guns. He took a deep breath. Begin jump sequence. On Proxima Station, the Confederation Council was in session when the news arrived. Impossible, gasped the Eldari representative when the images appeared. Humans don't have this technology. On the screen, 20 ships of unmistakably human design appeared simultaneously around the Purity Vanguard base. What followed was a display of military precision that stunned the watching council. The human vessels disabled the Vanguard's defensive systems with targeted strikes, neutralized their ships without destroying them, and landed forces that captured the base intact. The entire operation took less than 20 minutes. Most shocking to the council was what didn't happen. There were no mass casualties, no planet-wide destruction, tactics that every other species would have employed when attacked. Instead, the humans captured the Vanguard leadership alive and secured all their military assets. They could have destroyed everything, whispered the Mersai delegate. Why didn't they? An older council member, one who had studied human history, replied softly, because true predators don't need to prove their power through indiscriminate destruction. They are confident enough to be precise. Ambassador Sun Woo entered the Confederation Council chamber alone. The silence as he walked to the speaker's platform was absolute. Every representative from every world watched this human who now represented a species they had gravely underestimated. 3,000 human lives were taken. In an unprovoked attack, he began, his voice calm but carrying to every corner of the vast chamber. The attackers believed we would be helpless. They were wrong. He activated a holographic display showing the captured Vanguard base and fleet. We have apprehended those responsible. They will face justice under human law, with all rights and protections that entails. His gaze swept the chamber. We did not kill them, though they killed our people. Remember that. A murmur ran through the assembled delegates. Humanity now presents its terms to the Confederation. First, full diplomatic recognition of Earth as an equal member, not a supervised developing species. Second, unrestricted technology exchange. Third, a joint security agreement that acknowledges human ships will protect human interests throughout this galaxy. The Eldari High Counselor rose. And if we refuse these demands? Sun Wu's expression remained neutral. Then Earth will withdraw from all contact with the Confederation. We will develop our technology independently. We will expand at our own pace. And you will never know where we are or what we are capable of until it is too late. He paused. We prefer friendship, but we will accept isolation if that is your choice. The council chamber erupted in argument after he left. Many species feared what humans might become without Confederation oversight. Others recognized the opportunity to ally with this powerful new force. In the end, fear of the unknown proved stronger than fear of humans themselves. The council voted to accept Earth's terms, though many representatives did so while secretly preparing for what they saw as inevitable conflict with humanity. Back on Earth, in the rebuilt Mars colony, Commander Jinwoo Yoon watched the sunset. Through the new, stronger dome, the Vanguard prisoners had been surprised by their treatment, fair, humane, and just. They had expected to be executed or tortured. Instead, they received medical care and legal representation. Was it worth it? Asked President Han, joining him at the viewport. They know we can strike anywhere now, Jinwoo replied. And they know. We choose restraint over revenge. Yes, it was worth it. The Confederation fears us more than ever, the president noted. But now it's the right kind of fear, said Jinwoo. Not the fear of a monster that destroys without thought, but fear of a power that acts with purpose and control. He turned to face her. That's the difference they needed to see. We are predators, yes, but we are also more than our instincts. As darkness fell over Mars, news arrived from Earth's deep space monitoring stations. Ships from 12 Confederation worlds were requesting direct diplomatic ties with humanity, outside Confederation oversight. The galaxy was adjusting to a new reality, one where humans were feared but increasingly also respected. Tensions remained. Human ships patrolled Earth-controlled space, and human innovations had begun to spread throughout the galaxy, changing technologies that had remained static for centuries. Admiral Ji-hoon An stood aboard the observation deck of Orbital Station Freedom, Earth's newest and largest space installation. Below him, Earth shimmered blue and green, peaceful from this distance. Beautiful view, said a voice behind him. Chief Strategist Minji Quan joined him at the window. The most beautiful sight in the galaxy, Ji-hoon agreed. Though I've seen some close competitors since we gained faster ships, Minji nodded. Speaking of which, the new engine modifications are complete. Our fastest vessels can now reach the outer rim in 3 days. Good. We may need that speed soon. Ji-hoon handed her a data tablet. This just arrived from our scouts near the Perseus Arm. Minji reviewed the data, her expression growing serious. These energy readings, they're like nothing in our database. Nothing in the Confederation database either, Ji-hoon said. Something is coming from beyond the rim, something big. The distress call reached Earth 2 days later. The colony world Eldara Prime, home to over 40 million Eldari, had gone silent. When scout ships arrived, they found a horror beyond imagination. The entire planet's surface had been stripped of all organic and technological material. Massive unknown vessels surrounded the dead world, processing the harvested materials into their own structure. The scout ships barely escaped to warn the Confederation. Within a week, 2 more worlds fell. The attackers followed the same pattern. Arrive without warning, strip the planet of all useful resources, and move on. They ignored all communication attempts. The Confederation Council called an emergency session. For the first time, human representatives were invited to the highest level of galactic security planning. We have identified the threat, announced the Eldari High Counselor, her voice trembling. They call themselves the Devourers. A machine, intelligence from beyond the outer rim. Holographic images showed the mechanized swarm consuming entire star systems. Our forces have engaged them at 3 points, continued the Mersai military commander. All efforts failed. We lost 80% of our ships with no appreciable damage to the enemy. Defense Minister Do-Yoon Choi studied the battle data carefully. Your tactics were predictable. Linear formations, direct approaches, retreat when losses reached a certain threshold. Standard Confederation defensive protocols, the Mersai replied stiffly. Which is why they failed, Do-Yoon said quietly. The Devourers analyzed your patterns and countered them perfectly. The chamber fell silent. Then Admiral Ji-Hoon An stood. Earth will lead the defense against the Devourers, he stated simply. Shocked murmurs spread through the chamber. Your forces are a fraction of the size of the Confederation fleet, objected the Eldari leader. Size isn't everything, replied Admiral An. What matters is unpredictability, adaptability, and the willingness to take calculated risks. Predator thinking. The word hung in the air. For years, the Confederation had feared human predatory instincts. Now they faced an enemy those instincts might help defeat. The Devourers are machines, Ji-Hoon continued. They think logically, efficiently. They expect the same from their opponents. We need to be what they cannot predict. After hours of debate, desperation overcame fear. The Confederation granted Earth temporary command of the Combined Galactic Defense Forces. Chief Strategist Minji Quan faced a room full of alien military commanders. Behind her, displays showed the approaching Devourer swarm, now just days from the Eldari homeworld, with its population of billions. Your ships will be divided into 5 battle groups, she explained. Each will use different tactics, different formations. The Devourers must never see the same approach twice. These strategies, said an insect-like commander studying the EIUR battle plans. They make no sense. Attack patterns that expose vulnerabilities, feints that risk valuable ships, sacrificing positions to gain others. They make no sense to you, Minji corrected gently. Or to the Devourers. That's exactly why they will work. In another room, Dr. Seojun Ryu led a team of human and alien engineers in modifying Confederation technology. Your terraforming equipment, he told the stunned alien scientists, can be repurposed as a weapon. The atmospheric modifiers can disrupt the Devourers' communication frequencies. The mineral extractors can be reversed to inject disruptive elements into their structure. Those systems were designed to create life, not destroy it, protested an Eldari engineer. And now they will save lives, Seojun replied. Sometimes protection requires seeing peaceful tools through a warrior's eyes. 3 days later, the Devourers arrived at the Eldari homeworld. Their swarm of mechanized ships darkened the skies. Planet-killer vessels moved into position, preparing to begin stripping the world. What they encountered was something entirely new. An interspecies battle group led by humans using tactics no machine could have predicted. The smallest ships attacked first, drawing the Devourers' focus while larger vessels moved into position. Some ships deliberately took damage to create the impression of weakness in certain sectors, luring Devourer forces into carefully prepared traps. On the flagship EDS Defiance, Admiral Ji-Hoon An watched the battle unfold. Group 3 is taking heavy losses, reported Lieutenant Sora Kim. As expected, Ji-Hoon replied calmly. Hold position for 30 more seconds. The Devourers, sensing weakness, committed more forces to that sector. Now, ordered Ji-Hoon. Hidden ships emerged from the planet's rings attacking the Devourer flank. Meanwhile, modified terraforming equipment on the planet's surface activated, sending disruptive signals that confused the machine intelligence's coordination. For the first time, the Devourers experienced something they had never encountered: defeat. The battle lasted 14 hours. When it ended, the Eldari homeworld remained safe, and 30% of the Devourer forces had been destroyed or disabled. In the command center, exhausted crews from a dozen species celebrated together. Barriers that had existed for centuries fell away in the shared victory. An Eldari commander approached Admiral An. "I have served for 300 years, she said. "Never have I seen such tactics. You sacrificed ships to save the planet." "We sacrificed machines to save lives," Jihun corrected. "No strategy succeeds without cost. The key is ensuring the cost is worth the gain." The Eldari studied him with new understanding. "This is predator thinking?" "This is human thinking," he replied. "We evolved as predators, yes, but we evolved as protectors too. Our ancestors hunted not just for themselves, but to feed their families, their tribes." The news spread across the galaxy. Humans had done what no other species could. They had stopped the Devourers. More battles would follow as the machine intelligence adjusted its own tactics. But each time humans adapted faster. Chief strategist Minji Quan drew from Earth's military history, applying ancient strategies from Sun Tzu to modern guerrilla warfare in the vastness of space. Dr. Seojun Ryu continued transforming peaceful technology for defensive purposes, creating weapons the Devourers could not anticipate because they had never been weapons before. The galaxy watched in fascination as humans switched seamlessly between compassionate protection of refugees and ruthless destruction of enemy forces. What had once terrified them about humanity now gave them hope. 3 months into the war, alien observers recorded a human commander ordering his ship to draw enemy fire to protect a civilian transport, knowing his vessel might not survive. The recording spread across thousands of worlds. They choose to be predators for others, not just themselves, was the common realization. They hunt not for pleasure, but for protection. Earth was feared more than ever. But now that fear was mixed with something new: respect, gratitude, and for many species, a growing admiration. Counteroffensive led by Earth forces. The tide had turned. General Jiwoo Park stood on the bridge of the EDS Guardian, the largest vessel ever built by human hands. Around it, a fleet of 500 ships from 30 different species moved in perfect formation. They had pushed the Devourer forces back to their point of origin, a dying star near the edge of the galaxy. "Status report," Jiwoo ordered, her voice calm despite the tension filling the bridge. "Devourer forces have consolidated around their central core," reported Commander Taehyun. "All remaining units are gathering for a final stand." Jiwoo studied the tactical display. After a year of bitter fighting, they had discovered the secret of the Devourers, a central intelligence that guided the swarm. Destroy it, and the threat would end. "All ships report ready," added Communications Officer Miju, "including Captain Kim's strike team." Jiwoo nodded. Captain Hyona Kim commanded the Thunderbolt, a specially modified vessel designed for a single, crucial mission. "Open a channel to all ships," Jiwoo ordered. When the connection was confirmed, she addressed the combined fleet. "This is General Park. For 1 year we have fought together against an enemy that threatened all life in our galaxy. Today, we end that threat. Each of you knows your role. Trust your training, trust your shipmates, and trust each other." She paused, looking at the faces of her crew, human and alien standing side by side. The Devourers chose this galaxy thinking it held only easy prey. Today they learn their mistake. We are not prey. None of us, not humans, not Eldari, not Mersai, not any species standing with us. Today we are all predators. A cheer rose from ships across the fleet. "Begin the attack," Jiwoo ordered. The battle unfolded according to human tactics that still surprised their alien allies. Small, fast ships darted forward, drawing Devourer forces into carefully planned kill zones. Larger vessels provided covering fire, their weapons modified by Dr. Seojun Ryu's team to penetrate the Devourer's adaptive shields. On the Thunderbolt, Captain Hyona Kim watched the battle create the opening her team needed. "Shield status?" she asked her tactical officer. "Holding at 70%, he replied. "But they won't last long if we get too close to the core." Hyona nodded. "They don't need to last long, just long enough." Her ship carried a modified jump drive. developed by combining human innovation with alien technology. It could deliver a devastating pulse of energy directly into the Devourer's central core, but the ship delivering it would not survive. Receiving. The signal from General Park, reported her communications officer. Our window is opening. Yona took a deep breath. Her crew of 20 had all volunteered for this mission, knowing its nature. They were the best of Earth's forces, and now they would make the ultimate sacrifice to save trillions of lives across the galaxy. All hands, prepare for final approach, she ordered. Engine room, begin jump drive overload sequence. The Thunderbolt accelerated toward the massive structure at the center of the Devourer forces. Enemy ships converged to stop them, but the main fleet created the path they needed, taking damage to protect the mission. 90 seconds to contact, reported the helm officer. Hyona opened the ship-wide channel once more. It has been my honor to serve with each of you. In 1 minute, we will save a galaxy. Our names will be remembered on thousands of worlds. The Devourer core loomed larger on their view screen. The massive structure pulsed with energy as it directed its forces. 30 seconds, called out the tactical officer. Shields failing. They just need to hold a little longer, Hyona said calmly. Jump drive energy at maximum. Prepare for pulse. Discharge. The ship shuddered as Devourer weapons fire struck their hull. Systems failed across the bridge. Emergency lights flickered. 10 seconds. Hyona thought of Earth, blue and beautiful, of her family, of all the worlds she had helped defend over the past year. It was enough for Earth and all free worlds, she said quietly. The Thunderbolt vanished in a blinding flash as its jump drive released all its energy at once, directly into the heart of the Devourer core. From the Guardian, General Jiwoo watched the explosion tear through the Devourer central structure. The pulse of energy disrupted the machine intelligence, sending chaotic commands to its connected units. All ships full attack, she ordered, voice tight with emotion for the friends just lost. Don't give them time to recover. The combined fleet surged forward, targeting Devourer ships now moving erratically without central coordination. Within hours, the battle was over. The threat that had terrified the galaxy for a year was no more. As ships began the journey home, messages poured in from thousands of worlds. The humans who had once been feared as dangerous predators were now hailed as saviors. 3 months later, Chancellor Jun-hee Lee stood before the reformed Galactic Assembly in the new capital on Proxima Station. Representatives from over 500 worlds watched as the human leader approached the speaker's platform. 1 year ago, our galaxy faced extinction, she began. We survived because we stood together, all species, all worlds, united against a common threat. The chamber was silent, remembering the billions lost on consumed worlds. Today we create a new future. The old Confederation has become the Galactic Alliance, with Earth holding a permanent position on the Defense Council. No longer will we divide species by their evolutionary path. Instead, we recognize that diversity is our greatest strength. She activated a holographic display showing the first class of the new Galactic Defense Academy on Earth. Young beings from dozens of species, training together. Earth will share what we know of strategy and defense. In return, we will learn from the wisdom and experience of civilizations far older than our own. Together, we will build a galaxy where all can thrive in peace. She paused, her voice growing stronger. But know this. Earth makes this promise to all peaceful worlds. We will never start a war, but we will finish any conflict to protect innocent life. The strong defend the weak. This is the responsibility that comes with power. The chamber erupted in applause. What became known as the Earth Doctrine would guide galactic relations for centuries to come. 20 years later, Earth ships were a common sight throughout the galaxy. Human military forces served as peacekeepers in disputed regions, their mere presence often enough to prevent conflict. Earth's diplomatic corps worked tirelessly to resolve tensions between species. Human innovation combined with alien wisdom created an unprecedented era of growth and discovery. Commander Woojin Kang stood on the bridge of the EDS Peacekeeper, patrolling the border of Alliance space. His grandfather had been present at first contact, witnessing humanity's first steps into the galactic community. "Sir," called his sensor officer suddenly. Multiple unknown vessels approaching from beyond the rim, configuration unlike anything in our database. Wu Jin straightened. "Alert Alliance Command. All hands to battle stations." The unknown ships, massive and clearly built for war, approached rapidly. Their design suggested an expansionist empire, not explorers or traders. Wu Jin opened a channel, broadcasting standard greeting protocols in all known languages. The response came in a harsh, guttural tongue, soon translated by their systems. "Inferior species. Your territory is now claimed by the Varex Dominion. Surrender or be destroyed." Wu Jin smiled slightly as he gave the order to summon the nearest Alliance battle groups. The Varex would soon learn what many had discovered before them. 3 days later, the Varex ambassador stood trembling before the Alliance Council, signing a peace treaty. A single confrontation with Earth forces had been enough. Their intelligence reports told them everything they needed to know. Avoid conflict with humans at all costs. They are predators who choose peace, the most dangerous force in existence. Throughout the galaxy, thousands of species slept soundly, knowing that the most feared force in the stars was standing guard. What had once inspired terror now brought comfort. Earth had become exactly what the galaxy needed. Predators who hunted not for themselves but for all end of story.